And joining us once again on the Rothman Orthopedics Guest Line, our friend, you know him as Erock, I know him as Erock Emanuel. What's going on there, Erock? How you doing, brother?
Marc Farzetta, how are you? Thank you so much for having me on the show. And boy, isn't this a stark contrast from when you and I were talking in the beginning of the season of what's the Eagles' record going to be, and is Jalen Hurts the guy, and what does he have to prove? Here we are, the number one seed in the NFC, getting ready to make another Super Bowl run after 2017. I can't believe it's happening again.
Well, I feel like you just answered all the questions I was going to ask you in that one shot right there. So, I mean, it's been fun catching up, brother. No, yeah, right. No, but you know what? I had you on because I want to know, is Jalen Hurts the guy?
I think he proved it after about 3 or 4 weeks and silenced all the doubters. Listen, real talk. I mean, I had my reservations about the guy. I wanted to believe, but I didn't know how much I wanted to put my heart into it. I've been burnt by Carson Wentz. I've been burnt by Donovan McNabb. I've been burnt by so many quarterbacks that I just put my blind faith behind that I had my reservations. Not only did he exceed expectation, he exceeded the ceiling of what I thought he could be and proved beyond a shadow of a doubt. Nobody's got anything less to say. Chris Sims, go shove it. He is without a doubt a top 10, top 5 quarterback, and he's proven it. He's a franchise quarterback, and it will be moving forward.
I couldn't have said it better myself, my friend. Couldn't have said it better. Now, as far as that franchise quarterback, as far as him absolutely being the guy, how concerned are you with this injury? Because I got to tell you, right out of the gate, I didn't really think it was that big a deal. And then he missed a couple games. He threw a little bit, missed the game, came back. Everyone talked about how hurt he was. Nick Sirianni said he was in a lot of pain. I'm starting to think this was a lot more serious than I originally anticipated.
As do I, and it's not necessarily because of Jalen Hurts' performance against the Giants, right? Because
sure.
I feel like the team had a different swag. He was completing balls. He threw some deep balls. So you felt good about where he was physically on the field. It was just kind of the way that Nick Sirianni was talking about it and the way Jalen Hurts was talking about it after the game. And even today in the locker room where he goes, thank God there's a bye week. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Nick Sirianni after in the post-game press conference going, Jalen's really hurting. You're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to feed me nonsense. You're supposed to lie to me. Tell me he's just resting up or he's just shaking off rust. The more they dig into like, oh yeah, he's hurting, the more I'm like, oh, well, if he was even slightly hurting, you'd lie to me, you know?
I was waiting for the lie too. I was waiting for it's not that bad. Or of course he's got to get himself back into game shape. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that. I wasn't. Oh man, he's so sore. Oh, let me tell you how sore he is. I've made this point to a couple of different people, and I want to know if you thought the same thing. Do you remember when the injury had just happened, and Nick Sirianni, I think, did his Wednesday press conference, and he was talking about a conversation he had with his brother, where his brother was like, he played through what? He played through that? He threw like that with that injury, and he basically did this, homage to his brother about how impressed his brother was. And I'm like, his brother seems to know the severity of this injury that we don't. Guys are chuckling about it in the locker room, like it's not that serious. Jalen's a gamer. Jalen will be fine. It's not a big deal. But we're almost a month. It's a little worrisome.
Totally side note and sidebar conversation. When are we going to meet this notorious other Sirianni brother that he keeps speaking so highly of? I mean, all he does is tell stories about the guy, and we got to meet him. Maybe he should be the coach sometime. Like, who knows? He loves him so much. But listen, Jalen showed not only after the injury against the Bears, but I think during the Giants game, like he can tough through it, and he's got that mentality. The word soft and Jalen Hurts will never be associated with each other forever. Mentally soft, physically soft, it's never going to happen. So he's going to gut through it. He's going to endure the pain, and I think he can play through it because he's shown us that. Even after the injury happened, and then a couple weeks later, he's shown us that he can play through it. So I think he's going to be fine. He's going to lay it all out in the playoffs. I don't worry about Jalen Hurts' health.
You can't do this to me, Erock, because you know what a scatterbrain I am. Now you've got me thinking, like, what if we did find out Nick Sirianni was an only child? Like what if we found out? Like, remember when we found out Chip Kelly was married before, and it was and it was news because somebody looked up like the New Hampshire, whatever it was, whatever college he was at, And they were like, "Oh, he was married before. It says here he was married." And he was like, "Yeah, guys, I was married. Like, no one ever asked me if I was married before. What if we find out?" Like Nick Sirianni was like, "You guys got me. I never played D3 college ball. That
would be a total plot twist. And like, I see dead people. Or here's another conspiracy theory. What if Nick Sirianni's brother is his twin? It's an identical twin.
Oh my God.
And it's actually the same guy on the field. You just don't know it.
I have a theory. He's totally different on Monday press conferences versus Wednesday press conferences and Friday press conferences. I don't even know who he is anymore. I don't even know who he is.
That is true, because one looks like the regular Nick, right? And then during press conferences, one looks like the Nick that got into the Scooby snacks late at night. And so that could be two different people. We could be seeing two different people. Who knows?
He's talking about making Frito taco soup, whatever the hell that is. Totally different guy. Anyway,
I got some questions about it.
We got some. You and I sit Nick down. And we're like, all right, now you hold on a second. Right. Who's the real Nick Sirianni? Anyway, like a Scooby Doo episode. Anyway, so football.
Yes.
All right, so this is the reason I wanted to have you on, because I find you to be such a wonderful representation of the fan base, lifelong fan, of course, that you are, traveling with the fans, doing all the great stuff that you do. When it comes to the teams the Eagles could face in the next round, I'm going to give you a two-part question here, all right? But let's address the first part of this first.
Mm-hmm.
Who do they have the best chance of beating? Like, of all the teams out there, if you want a cakewalk, easy game, divisional round to cakewalk into the conference championship game, who's the team they're blowing out of the water in that divisional round?
I think it's either going to be Seattle or the New York Giants. And I know that a lot of people will say it's tough to beat a team 3 times in a season, but I take a look at the New York Giants and I see a lot of potential there. I love their coaching staff. As much as it is blasphemy to say that out loud as an Eagles fan, I absolutely love their coaching staff. Then I feel like the New York Giants are kind of the Philadelphia Eagles of last year, where it's, kind of a new coach and the new quarterback, not a new quarterback, but the quarterback's new to that system. And they don't really belong there. All right. They're good. They're on the uptick. It's clear to see their trajectory is going upwards, but they really don't belong there yet. So I would say it's either Seattle, who I think the Eagles match up well against, or once again, those New York Football Giants.
Okay, so those are the two teams. And I would agree with you with Seattle. Seattle's run defense isn't there. Their points per game is not really there. I mean, you could, and they're not the defensive team of old, of course, from years past. Plus, Geno Smith, and I give him all the credit in the world, taking on this defense and that secondary, the best in the NFL. I don't think that's a good matchup for Geno Smith. So I agree. It's a great matchup in favor of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Exactly.
Now, the best storyline, I know the slam dunk here is the Cowboys for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But the other storyline that's attached to this as well is the fact that you'd be able to not only beat Tom Brady, which is always sexy, but you'd also be able to beat Todd Bowles in that defense that said Jalen Hurts can't read a defense. So the easiest slam dunk, you're looking at the Giants, you're looking at the Seahawks. Best storyline, do you go with the Buccaneers or do you go with the Cowboys?
No, because I feel like the Tom Brady thing is cemented in Philadelphia Eagles lore. Like we got nothing to prove against Tom Brady anymore. We've done it. We beat him in his prime. He's no longer in his prime. We beat him in his prime with a backup quarterback. And heaven forbid the Eagles were to lose that game. Would that then, losing to Brady now after the best regular season, arguably, that the Philadelphia Eagles have ever had in franchise history, does that then tarnish what they did in 2017 in that Super Bowl? Does it? So I want to back off of that storyline and go, listen, we need to clean sweep the NFC East. Like if you bring the Giants back, divisional round, smack them down, and then the NFC Championship game, because this team. Again, I think it's the best regular season in franchise history, but you can take things out of 2017. It looks familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure.
People getting injured late, and potential MVP quarterback, the touchdown celebrations, instead of dog masks, Batman thing now. And so there's similarities. But let's bring it back to the 80s, man. Let's bring it back to when you and I were pups and have the NFC Championship game in Philadelphia against the Cowboys. The ghost of Wilbert Montgomery going long instead of Wilbert, instead of 31. It's it's Sanders or Boston Scott, or maybe it's even Jalen himself taking it to the house. Like let's relive a little bit of magic. Let's do it.
I'm all for it, man. I think it is a slam dunk. When you talk about storylines, the NFL would love that. The networks would love that. Cowboys, Eagles for the Super Bowl trip. I think they'd fall head over heels in love with that. Last thing I want to ask you about here, Jalen Hurts, I think, has taken away everyone's major headline from the season. What's second in command here? What is the second best storyline from this incredible 2022, 2023 now Philadelphia Eagles team? What's the second best storyline behind Jalen Hurts?
Well, you can go with the sacks and what the defense has been doing. You can go with how good the offensive line. You can go with this or that or that. But I think the second greatest storyline is a storyline that nobody's talking about.
Oh, okay. Hold on. You might be.
Go ahead. And this is just the start. Did you see how much? Did you see how much cap room we have next year?
There's a lot of cap room, but there's also a lot of signings they got to do.
Fair. We still have 2 first-round picks. We still have a lot of flexibility. All of a sudden, like, it is no coincidence that the trade for A.J. Brown, sign, FaceTime, Jalen Hurts, that's his buddy. Philadelphia, you heard CJ, right? CJ talking about how much better it is in Philadelphia than it was in New Orleans. Philadelphia is going to become a football destination spot, a la the Los Angeles Rams last year, where people just wanted to play here. You had guys like, Von Miller, I'm in. Odell, I'm in. Everybody, I'm in. And it becomes a destination. People are going to want to play with the next big thing, and that's Jalen Hurts. People are going to want to be involved in this offense. People are going to get in on this defense. It's going to be a party. This is just – whatever happens from this conversation forward, no matter what happens, this is just the beginning. Oof. And this was the best regular season in Philadelphia Eagles history.
Oh. It just sounds so lovely. I'm buying. I'm buying. I mean, can
I sell you? I sold you.
I'll take 10,000 units. All right. I thought you were going to go more specific. I thought you were just going to say Howie Roseman. That's the direction I thought you were going, because I mean, there's been a lot of Howie hate in recent years here in Philadelphia, and people will still bring up Justin Jefferson and Jalen Reagor, and I get it. Sure. But holy pots and pans, when you look at what happened in 2017 and the depth of that team, and then you look at what happened last year with being able to have 3 first-round picks, cash them in for A.J. Brown and Jordan Davis, then this year you still have a top 10 pick. You'll still have your own pick, and you're the number 1 seed in the NFC? What? That's sorcery.
That is a monster storyline, especially coming off of a couple years where we were absolutely at the guy's throat, and he is my idol. He is my hero, not for what he's done, just for the simple fact, like Elliott Shore Parks tweeted out the statue of Doug, and
I saw that.
And he said like who would be the next statue, and my suggestion was, I'm trying to get this right, Howie Roseman pointing up in the stands, and I long for the day. It is the pure American dream that you can go up to your own customers, your own clientele, the people that buy your product, and say F you, and they love you for it. That is just, the man is my hero.
That is an ultimate Philly goal. That's where you can say that to anyone. It's just like, no, I still love him. There you go. Eric, great catching up with you as always, my friend. I appreciate you coming on. Hopefully we'll be talking about this maybe during another bye week, maybe before the Super Bowl.
Hey, buddy, thanks so much for having me on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Absolutely, really great catching up. Eric Emanuel, Erock, ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.